Hello, Craig Crawshaw, Oaks Bible Church, Santa Barbara, teaching us through 1 Corinthians 15. This is post number 20. And today we come to a really interesting verse in 1 Corinthians 15 that has confused many people. So I want you to understand this and how it relates to resurrection, as does all of 1 Corinthians 15. The verse says in verse 29, "Otherwise, what will those do who are baptized for the dead? If the dead are not raised at all, why then are they baptized for them, for the dead?" Baptism for the dead is a pagan ritual that says, gosh, I'm not sure if my dead mother, father, grandfather, whoever, accepted Jesus as Savior, but I want to be sure they go to heaven. So I'm going to be baptized for them in life, in their name. I'll go through the ritual of baptism, and that baptism will pass on to them who are already passed and already died, that they might be assured of their place in heaven. Well, clearly this argues against what salvation is, that salvation is a personal decision to receive Jesus Christ. Paul didn't believe in baptism for the dead. He recognized that in Corinth there were some Christians who still did. It was a ritual, historically tells us that the Corinthians practiced baptism for the dead, believing that by doing so they could save some of their past ancestors. And it doesn't make any sense, but Paul is using it as an argument for resurrection. That's the point. He says he's trying to convince people of the viability of the resurrection, and that resurrection makes sense, and that Jesus rose from the dead makes sense, and that his resurrection makes our resurrection make sense. And he says, how is it that you baptize for the dead if you don't even believe in the resurrection of the dead? Your pagan ritual argues against the very thing you're arguing. There were those in Corinth who didn't believe in the resurrection or questioning the resurrection of Jesus. And he says, well, of course you must believe in the resurrection. You're baptizing for the dead. He's not condoning it. He's not condemning it. He's just using this pagan ritual as an example of saying the resurrection of Jesus is viable. The resurrection of believers that follow Jesus are viable, even by your pagan ritual. It contradicts. So never think that this obscure verse, and there's no other place in the Bible that talks about baptism from the dead, so it's wrong to base a doctrine on one verse. There are those, Mormons, for instance, today baptized for the dead, and other deviant groups that don't understand, and they're mistaken. And this is the verse they point to in their King James Bible, and they say, here it is in the Bible. Paul talked about baptizing for the dead. Well, yes, he did, but not that he condones it. Rather, he just uses the pagan practice that was wrong to validate the fact that resurrection makes sense, even in their minds, by doing something that's wrong. You understand? No baptism for the dead. You can't be baptized for your dead father, mother, grandfather. It doesn't work. But you can make a personal decision for Jesus Christ and be baptized in water to show that you are a follower of Jesus Christ. God bless you. See you next post.